This is a season of giving, so you have a few ideas, right, Richard?
Yes, I mean, everybody's trying to find gifts for all the people on their list. And if they like birds, I have 5 good suggestions.
Yep.
Just think about the 5 things, and you can pick a number of items within each group. The first one, everybody needs another feeder. If you feed birds, you've got some feeders. You can always use another feeder, especially a new feeder. And there's several kinds you can use. Tube feeders, just a slender plastic tube. Wooden feeders, nice boxy wooden feeder with a roof on it. You see them in many sizes and shapes. And platform feeders, just an open tray. And also tray feeders, which has a little dome on it and a bowl or bowl feeder you can put things in. So there's a lot of different feeders out there. And most of them can be had under $50. Makes a nice gift. And that's, everybody wants one of those. You got to have, I don't have enough feeders, I know, so keep me in mind. Feed. Cole's Bird Food, of course, makes a great gift. If people are using the grocery store mix or the hardware store mix, and they get some Coles, they're going to love you. Or maybe not, because then they're going to be hooked on Coles, and that's the only thing their birds are going to like. But they'll have a lot more birds, so they're going to be happy. Coles has a wide variety of the foods, and one for each one of those types of feeders, and one for different kinds of birds. So Coles Bird Seed, good bird food for the birds is another good gift idea. Bird houses. You can see in the summertime, the birds are going to be breeding in this area. They're going to be having young. You can watch that whole process. And like a good bluebird box is good for most birds that are going to be nested. The chickadees, the titmice, and the bluebirds are the main ones you're going to see. And so a couple of birdhouses around the yard. There's different kinds, and get one that's got a decent sized hole in it, at least 2 inches, 1.5 to 2 inch hole for the birds. And cedar wood is preferred. There's some good ones made out of stone type materials that hang, but put out a couple of birdhouses for your birds. It makes a great gift for somebody too. It's almost like feeders. You can't have enough birdhouses in your yard because the birds like shopping for a home. You say, well, I don't like that one on the corner, but I like this one on the cul-de-sac, or vice versa. So if you put several around your yard, you're going to have a much better chance of attracting some nesting birds. And then, of course, there's binoculars. You've got all this. You
brought some today, your visual aid.
You've got all of this activity in your yard, and birds are small. And they're 30 or 40 feet away, and they look this big to you.
Yeah.
You can't see much. However, if you have a pair of binoculars, this right here is a small pair. I keep these in my car, actually, so you never know. Wow. Yes, you got to have a pair in the car. You never know when you're going to stop and see something. You need the binoculars to see them. But if you're going to have some, if you're going to give them for the kids or the young kids especially, probably keep the price under $50. You can find some for $30. Don't get the $10 or $11, $12 ones because they're terrible. They don't work at all. But something around $30, $40, $50 is okay. It's especially for children. You don't have a huge investment in it. And ones that are run from $50 to say $150 are pretty good binoculars. Most of them will do well for you. You'd love to have a pair by your kitchen table or wherever you're going to see the bird feeder out in the yard. And of course, you can spend up to $800 or $1,000 for binoculars. But for around the house, if you're not really into watching birds that much, but you want to see what's going on, something in, like I said, really $100 to $200 range would be great. And that's a great gift idea for the husband or wife who's there watching the birds.
It's a great gift idea.
Yeah. And you can find this type of stuff, the feeders and everything, at your local bird stores. Here locally, we have Birdwatcher Supply Company, and there's a few locations around, so you go by one of them. And the good thing about the bird stores around, people know what they're talking about there. Right. They can help you. You go to the depot type store or something else, and they might know, the feeders are over here, and they don't really know that much about them. But the bird stores, these people are experts. All your local bird stores can help you.
Right. And my husband and I will always shop at Birdwatcher Supply. Yeah. And we have gotten so much information from them that it's just, you wouldn't want to go anywhere else because they told us how to attract bluebirds. They'll really take the time. Everybody there seems to be an expert, and they, they don't mind talking to you about it. They share that passion. Do you want to also show the tube feeder that you brought today?
And one of my favorite feeders, and probably one of the most versatile feeders you can have is a tube feeder. This one is done by, oh yes, Coles. I know these people, they're great. But this is just an excellent tube feeder, and I've mentioned this before, but it's just so easy to clean, unlike most other tube feeders. You just pop off the bottom, you can open the top, hose right through it, run a brush through it. Easy to fill, easy to clean, and this one just plain looks good too.
What should you clean them with? What type of ingredients? I mean, should it be like soap and water?
You could use just plain soap and water. You can lay them in some water for a while if it's really crusty. It shouldn't be that dirty inside. Just get a good bottle brush too. You can open the top of one of these things, like I said on this one, pop the bottom off, and you can just run a bottle brush in and out a few times and cleans it very nicely.
Have you ever washed it in the dishwasher?
No, I haven't.
I have.
But they say you can do it. I just have never done it.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty much the queen of lazy.
All right.
So,
Well, how did that work?
It worked great.
Good. After you've got the feeders and you put some good seed in it and you've got the bird houses, the birds are coming. And you got the binoculars, you can see them. What bird is that I'm looking at? Well, bird identification field guides. This is one of my favorites. There's a lot of them out there. And this is Peterson's, and it's just full of pictures and descriptions and maps, which are very important. You see a bird and say, oh, I know what that is, and you look. If you don't have a map that shows you where that bird is, you think it's that bird, and it's really only a bird in California and not anywhere else. So a little map will give you an idea of where the bird's located. And in this particular one, it shows you its winter range and its summer range and gives you a better way to identify the bird. And a lot of field guides, especially this one, will give you things like silhouettes of what birds. You might not be able to see the color, but you can see what it looks like in silhouette. And this one also has some helpful hints in the front, what to look for. Don't just look at the bird overall, but look at its bill shape. Look at the color patches, where they are. Look at whether it's got a top knot on it. And that helps you narrow down what bird you're looking at.
And they also will even tell you things like the flight. So you can
Yes.
identify a bird just by its
The way it
flight.
flies.
I think that's so interesting because
It
sometimes
is.
it is hard to tell, just especially if the colors are kind of muted, like, what they are.
Yeah.
But a lot of times their flight or their song will give it away.
Song is really important, and a lot of people get into the song, and you don't even have to see the bird if you're very familiar with the songs. But this is kind of adds to the fun of the hobby and intrigue of the hobby. You can start trying to identify these guys. Keep a little list of how many birds you've seen in your yard, what birds you've seen in your yard. And here's another field guide. It's one of the ones I use a lot. This one has all the birds in the United States. The one I showed you before, it comes in two versions. This one is for the eastern United States. There's a complementary version that goes for the western birds in the western United States. And this one covers all the birds throughout the United States. And it's also a very good field guide. It has maps, it has descriptions, and they're both great. There's several others out there that are just as good. But that makes a wonderful gift too.
Oh, it is. That's great
yeah.
because there's so much information in it, and it's such a small investment for all the joy that
Yeah.
you get back out of it.
Yeah. And you can see mine were well worn. I use them all the time.
Right.
And if you just keep them close to where your binoculars are, and close to where you're going to see the birds, just pick it up and look, and you'd be surprised how quickly you'll be able to identify the birds out there.
And then you can sound kind of smart in
Absolutely.
front of your friends.
Yeah, you can impress them and say, that's a whatever. Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah.
Exactly.